first decide like what angle you're going for. Are we doing like a point and shoot? Are we doing a dance? You might want to do a dance. If you're looking for like music to guide what it is you're doing,
Hmm.
then we're gonna go into how do we select a sound.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. In New York, we had a little bit of warmer weather, which was really, really nice. It's been forever. I feel like we've been in like a snow ice storm for like the longest time, deep freeze. So I'm definitely excited that we don't have quite as cold of weather today. So hope you guys are doing well. Heidi Rose Floral, thanks for joining. Sweet Francis, Sewing. Got it. So you go. Sorry about that. Avorio Bridal and Emily. Emily is going to be joining us tonight, and we all things IG Reels and TikTok. When it comes to TikTok and IG Reels, it can be. Hey, how are you?
Hi! Good, how are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
You too. I'm really excited to do this, and I was listening to you talk about the warm weather, and so I feel like today is just like a spring summer vibe that we are bringing.
Oh my goodness, yes, completely. And seriously, it's like with everything right now, like everyone, it's like a year, been a year since everything. And it's like the warm weather just helps your mood. It just helps, like, it helps everything. And,
Yeah, absolutely. I went outside today and I was like, this is a different world.
and I will take it. I'm going to take it no matter what. So
Yeah, me too.
I love it. So I was just saying, so IG Reels and TikTok, everyone is like, I'd say that there's like two camps. There's people who are like gung ho, yes, everything, TikTok, IG Reels, half their day is spent on it. And then there's the other half that's like, no, I'm not going to be dancing. Clearly, I'm not dancing. If you've ever seen TikToks or IG Reels, there is none of me dancing for good reason, let me tell you.
No need to dance.
No.
Doesn't need to happen.
So I think first off, why don't you explain a little bit about, um, for businesses in particular, what are some of the things that they should be aware of when it comes to using TikTok for their business?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing is to start. Like you said, there are people that are like, I'm not touching this, and there are people that are like super into it. And I think the people that are super into it are like scaring the people that aren't ready to touch it because it's like where these are so good. I was in a conversation today and people were like, oh, your reels are so telling this girl, they're like, your reels are so good, like I don't even know what to do. And so I think there's like a lot of intimidation. But the first thing is to just start. And, I think it got TikTok especially, and then moving into Reels got like a reputation of like younger people dancing, and I think that's where the misconception comes from. But as everyone's continued to use it during the pandemic and onward, it's more of a business tool. And I always tell people if you're not there, like your competitor is also there. And I think people are more willing to adapt to Reels. They're already using Instagram. It's like the
Right.
next step. Um, but social media is always changing. And so our next move will be to TikTok, the way that like our next move was from Facebook to Instagram. So now is the time. If you're watching this, this is your sign. Sign up for TikTok, get that account. Like we are going to go through more steps tonight. You're going to get started. This is it. We're getting ready.
I love it. I saw Terica join. Terica, hey. I
Hi.
this one of the things that like for TikTok, I think people get intimidated because it seems like a lot of, I mean, besides the dancing, a lot of younger people. And so, I mean, obviously there's like this whole wave. If you guys haven't wasted lots of hours on TikTok, let me tell you, there are these older people like my age, and they're
You are not, stop right there. You're not old.
but they're like, I mean, they are killing it. And they're like, there's like these TikTok wars or whatever. Like, that's how cool I am. I'm like, TikTok wars with my, no.
I always tell people, so like one of my favorite TikTok accounts is a senior citizen housing complex.
Oh,
So like don't ever tell me that you're too old, or like a friend of my grandmother's who is 91, she's on TikTok. So like I don't hear anybody tell me that they are too old for this. Or like you don't have to dance and you're never too old. So
love it.
make that your takeaway from this because you're signing up. We're getting started. We're
So,
gonna make it happen. But you're right. You're not too old, and it is. It started as something for younger people. And even if your audience isn't, I would challenge you, especially in the wedding industry. Gen Z is they're becoming your clients. They're in their early 20s and the teenagers are coming. And it's kind of just instilling that brand awareness from an early age, the way like magazines and TV commercials instilled wedding brand awareness in us as we were growing up.
I love it. And for some of the videos, if they're not dancing, what should they be doing in these videos?
That's great question. So I think there's two ways to look at it. I think the step down from dancing that some people are like, oh, I can handle that, and some people are like, no, is the like point to the beat. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the music's playing and you point and then you like add your text in later. For some people, that's great and they love it. And I've had other people tell me, no way, that's like just as bad as dancing. I'm not doing it. Like, do not make me. It's not on brand. I challenge those people. If you're like, this is not on brand for me, I challenge you to like really ask yourself, is it not on brand, or am I just saying that because I'm afraid to do it?
It's a good
Because I think for some people, it's just that they're afraid to do it. Because, like, yeah, I mean, if I do this right now, I look a little silly. But when I put the text there,
Right.
it all comes together. And to be completely honest, if I'm pointing at text, you're going to read that. You're not going to be looking at, like, my hair or whatever. And that's what I think is holding people back, is this, like, insecurity of, like, well, people will be looking at this, or I don't have my makeup done, or I didn't clean my room, or this or that, or whatever. And I think that that's a lot of what's stopping people from getting started. But I always tell people, like, kind of just scroll through. You're already scrolling through anyway. Like, TikTok, it'll just suck you in and you're scrolling through. Like, take a minute to, like, look behind people. Like, look behind them, look at them. Like, their rooms aren't clean, their hair's not done, and you're not judging them. So no one's going to do it to you either.
I love it. And that's so important because I think everyone, we all get insecure. I mean, when it's like we see our faces and like, do you know what I mean? Like, because you know that
Absolutely.
you're judging yourself, so you would completely assume that everybody else is judging you. And I mean, and sometimes we do judge other people and we're like, oh, that wasn't very good, or whatever. But I think the most important takeaway is that everybody's doing this, whether they're doing the pointing or they're making like, dance, whatever. I don't even know. But I mean, they're all doing these things. And so at some point, understanding that even if you have, 1 out of however many views that, is quote unquote judging you, it's a very small percentage. There's a very small number of people that are doing that, because everybody else, when you're watching it and when it's the norm, it's no longer, you're being judged against that, not judged against like a random video of you next to these beautifully, put together things. You're being judged next to other people who are doing the same thing in messy room, messy. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's just like one big feed of people doing, like, being themselves. And I think that that's kind of where TikTok has become so important, is that it's just like such an authentic place. Like, you're not often seeing like, very high def cameras or like any kind of professional work there. I mean, sometimes you are, but not in a way that should intimidate you ever from like hopping on with your cell phone. And I mean, if you have a smartphone, like you are a TikToker, like that's all you need. You need this one little front facing camera and like you're good to go. So if that's what's holding people back, we're cutting out the excuses here tonight, right. And that is one of them. You've got the equipment. You don't need any of the fancy ring lights. It's nice outside now, so
you totally be outside.
Hit up that natural sunlight and you're good to go.
So what are some of the kind of the key things to know about like how they choose songs, or how they even start to do a video? Because I think that's the other part is, one, there's the insecurity of like, oh, it's going to be my face. And then there's the other part of the insecurity, which is, I don't know how to use, like, I don't know where to touch and scroll and add or delete or put text or music. Like how
yeah.
Get started with that?
Yeah, great question. So I think you first decide like what angle you're going for. Are we doing like a point and shoot? Are we doing a dance? You might want to do a dance. If you're looking for like music to guide what it is you're doing, then we're going to go into how do we select a sound. And for that, TikTok makes it super easy. They have like a trending page, or you create a video and you go to add sounds and it'll tell you like what it thinks fits your video or what's trending. And you can also save sounds. So if you're just like in bed one night scrolling through TikTok and you're like, oh, I could make a video to that, just
Mhm.
tap on the audio at the bottom and you can save it and add it to your favorites. And then when you're ready, it'll be there for you.
And
Or sometimes, if somebody has their own audio that they've made that's like a trending topic, or like whatever, people are using their own voice, you can save those too. I think where it gets tricky for some people is that like transition over to Instagram Reels and how do we find sounds there? And we can get to that in terms of
yeah,
like cross-posting the content, but for finding sounds on like Instagram Reels, it's kind of the same thing if you're scrolling through the Reels tab, which I don't know about you, I don't do that often. I know they're kind of pushing it at us, like scroll through Reels, like you scroll through TikTok. I usually am just kind of watching the Reels that are already in my feed, but you can save sounds from those videos or you can select from a music library. My big hack I will tell people, and I know I see one of my friends in here who had this problem too. If you are on Reels and don't have access to music, I know this is still happening to some people, they don't have the little music icon.
hmm
If you go and touch where it should be, there's a good chance that it will still come up for you. So if you're looking and you're like, I don't have it, how do I even use sounds? Sometimes it's hiding there and there's no icon, which sounds crazy, but I've seen it happen to many people. They're like, oh, it's hiding. So if you're watching this and you don't have sounds, they could be hiding there for you. But that's what I would say if you're looking to use music in terms of selecting. But what I've found, especially for people in like the wedding and creative field, is that you can just sit down and do what Megan and I are doing right now. Like just sit down and talk to your camera about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And that is what resonates with people, like breaking the fourth wall, as they call it. Like I always think about like if you watch The Office, like get your office cam and like talk directly to the people that are watching about whatever it is. Because I think getting started and making your first video and kind of knowing what to talk about is what is a big hang up for people, because it's like, okay, what do I talk about? And also if I make this one video, what do I talk about after? I had my one idea and like now I'm stuck again. So I tell people, and I have an IGTV video on my page that you can check out about this, on how to select topics. So I tell people, make a list of 5 or more, but like minimum 5 of your frequently asked questions. So whether that's, what do I wear to my engagement shoot, or, how long like is my makeup trial, or whatever people are asking you, make 5 of those and then make a list of 5 or more questions that you wish people would ask you, um, and do that so that you're educating your audience. Like if you feel like people are always kind of showing up to your photo shoots and you're like, oh, maybe they weren't like dressed for the right color or whatever, like start making videos of things that you wish people were asking you that you could help with, so that you're educating your audience that way. Because once you have that list of 10, it's like even easier to just keep going and like pare it down, and eventually, especially on TikTok with their question feature, like you can respond to a comment with a new video. Then the content will just kind of start flowing from there.
that's really good. And it's a great way too to be interactive and really kind of drive some traffic to your social media page from inquiries. So like if someone's, asking questions, they're emailing you, you can always point them, you can have a link and point them to your social media page as well. So if you're doing like an IG Reels or IGTV, or if you're doing a TikTok, and again, I think it's something that you're speaking their language at that point, because they're already on these platforms.
Right.
So you want to be able to show like, hey, I'm on this platform too, and these are some things, and there might be things out there that they like about, whether it's a video that you did or more informational, kind of Q&A things that they can learn, and that's adding value. It's making you the expert. So I think that's a really, really good tip.
Absolutely, and it makes answering questions, it's going to save you time. It's like part of your workflow. Like if you have your email responders set up, like this is just another step in like not having to recreate answers. So if somebody emails you and they're like, what can I expect from whatever my makeup trial or whatever it is that you do, why would you type out a whole response? You can just send them the link to your TikTok video. Anybody can watch a TikTok video whether they have an account or not, and you can watch them on a desktop. So just send them the link like you would like a YouTube tutorial or something. Like,
That's so good.
here's the answer to this question. If somebody DMs you on Instagram, like just DM them the reel back. Be like, here's, I answered this in a reel. Here you go.
I love that. That's so good. So for doing IG, so one of the things that I know that's kind of new, Instagram limits your reach if you repost a TikTok video to Instagram Reels. So I think that's really important because for a while we were doing that because like the music feature thing wasn't showing up and there were all these other issues. And so it was just easy. The video was done, just post it to Reels. And at first they just wanted people to use the feature, so they didn't really care. But now they're like, no, we want to make sure that you're creating content natively. And so what are some of the other things that they should be aware of? They should not be reposting their TikTok video to IG Reels. What else should
Right.
they be doing or not doing?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is a few hacks around that. Like nobody wants to create the same content twice. So what I suggest usually, first off, is if you, and I know people are like, I don't have time for this, it's too much to do it twice, but if you make it in a third-party app, so like whatever kind of video editor you like, make it there and then just post it to each one. It's a native video. I know it's a lot of work and it's hard sometimes if you're using music, how do you sync up the sound? So my hack for that is that you film it in TikTok. There are third-party apps and sites to remove the TikTok watermark. But I would say if you're making a TikTok and you're familiar with TikTok, you know, when you go to add the caption before you post it and there's like the video there, you can watch the video again. It doesn't have any watermarks on it or anything, so I would just screen record that, save the screen recording and post that to Reels. And it'll be viewed as a native video. Reels has kind of caught on to the people that are doing it the other way. So I know some people, and it's like still rolling out, have a giant Reels watermark when they download their Reel if they're trying to go like from Reels to TikTok. They're catching on. I understand it. It's not content creator friendly. I mean, I get why they're doing it, but sometimes you just got to give the people what they want. I'm like, we just want this to be easy. Is that so much to ask? But I've found that, you know, some people have had it after one. They're like, I put this on TikTok and like I am done, or I made a reel. I follow some people that are killing it with reels and they're not even on TikTok. And I'm like, you've already made this. We can repurpose it. Something else too is you could always, if you're making something super short, like under 10 seconds or so, if you wanted to film it in your stories, because you can still download that without a watermark. So if you're looking to use kind of like IG filter or whatever, you could do it that way and download it and then post to Reels and TikTok. But it is getting more challenging, and it was a total bummer when Instagram like publicly was finally like, yeah, we're gonna knock that. We're gonna ding you for it. I mean, it's better than nothing. Like if you're like, I genuinely just like do not have time to do this again or edit it or whatever, like go ahead and do it every so often. It's like a reminder that you're on TikTok, but don't be upset when it's not getting pushed to the world like some of the other ones might be.
Right. And I think understanding the difference, like if you're creating content for an audience that you know is already coming to your page, that's different because at that point, you're not trying to use it to gain eyeballs, essentially. If you're using it to gain eyeballs, then that's something that you want to be aware of. So
Yeah.
how you're using
And sometimes it just doesn't work and you don't have to repost everything, which again, I know is so hard to hear when it's like, I put so much time and effort into this. Like, well, I want the world to see it. I really like it. But I've seen people that talk about how TikTok is like its own little world. And sometimes that's kind of true. Like I'll be talking to my friends who are on TikTok and you'll mention a trend. And if you're not on TikTok, you're kind of like, what are you even talking about? And eventually some of those trends will hit Instagram, but for the moment, they're only on TikTok, and it's like a very hard thing to explain to people that aren't on TikTok. Like, why are like when the oh no, you know, the song is like, oh no, 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 like when that started on TikTok and people were like walking around saying that, and people on Instagram who aren't on TikTok are like, what are we talking about? So kind of reading the room on that. If your audience is one that you know is like on both platforms and is like heavily engaged in TikTok, like go for it, but kind of keep your, like, know your audience, know if that TikTok trend is going to make sense, on Instagram, and maybe it will make sense on Instagram in a week or two when that trend kind of moves over, and then you can post it. Don't feel like you have to post everything at the same time on both platforms all the time.
That's good. That's good. And so when it comes to like your reach and getting noticed, hashtags are always a really important part. So what is the best use for people when they are using hashtags on Instagram and then also on IG Reels?
Yeah, so hashtags on Instagram, I kind of like to keep it like I do like a third, a third, and a third. So like very niche, like super specific. So if someone's searching, they can find what they're looking for. In the middle of like 10 to 100K, and also things that are location based, especially if you're a location based business. And then a third of like larger, very broad generic ones. Um, TikTok, you can only, it's your space is very small, and note that like the more caption you add, the more it's gonna like push up into your video and cover your face. Not a lot, but it like even one line makes a big difference for that. So for hashtags on TikTok, keep it specific. Don't waste space with like hashtag for you page or any of that stuff that people say you need. You don't need that, because you're gonna come up on somebody's for you page because that's content for them, and the way that TikTok is going to know is based on your hashtags. And another reason to make content in TikTok is that it will read the text that's on the screen. So if you're just like posting your reel to TikTok, it can't read what that text is saying the way it can if you added your own text. So the more text you can add in the video and in the caption, the more TikTok can really like narrow down what it is, and it'll best serve it to the people that need it, because their algorithm is outstanding, amazing. I don't know how they do it.
Well, and I think that's something to keep in mind because I know people get very frustrated with like, oh, I need to do the for you hashtag on TikTok, and I need to do this hashtag, and I can't tag people because there's no more room on the caption, and like, they're like, what do I do? But it's like, all of the text that you're adding, it can read that. Morris just said, didn't know that great information. Thanks for joining, Morris. But those are the things that I think it can be overwhelming because you're like, I want to do this right. If I'm going to spend the time and like create this video and do all of this, I want to make sure that it's like, going to be seen by people. I'm putting the hashtags I'm supposed to. I'm not, I'm maximizing that effort. So I think those are really, really good tips in terms of like gifts or like some of the other kind of like add-on sticker things. Are those good? Do those like help?
No, and I think like TikTok has such a great GIF library, but don't do it. It's not, people aren't doing it. You don't see it. Like I tell people if they're considering, should I use this font or should I put a GIF in or should I do this or whatever, kind of think about what you're seeing on your For You page. So like with GIFs, I never see them. Like I never see people using them really. I wouldn't do it. Same thing with filters, like TikTok or like the lenses, like the creative filters where it can like turn you into an animal or whatever. Like people aren't really using those either. Sometimes they're part of a trend, but usually it's not. They're there, but no one's using them. So I think TikTok's a little weird in the sense that like you don't need to use everything that's given to you. Like just show up as you are. And with Instagram, I think it's a little different. People are more like used to using GIFs, so if you're gonna put them in your reels. But again, I'm not really seeing them in reels. I'm not seeing people stick them places. Occasionally it makes sense if you're using like an arrow or something, like follow me here or whatever. But I wouldn't like go overboard, just like simple text if it needs text, and that's really it.
Yeah. And understanding your audience too. So understanding, who is it that you're trying to target with your videos, and what do you want them to know? Because yeah, like if you have an arrow or you need something that's a little bit more animated, like a GIF, then that can be helpful. But that doesn't mean that you should be like,
Right. The more that's happening, the more you're like taking away from your central message. And so like the flashy filters, I'm very anti the whole like strobe disco filter. I know like on TikTok they're part of trend.
My
Tik
very first one. I didn't know what I was doing. And so my son was showing me, and it was like the strobe, like rainbow filter. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, it's the stupidest video ever. But it just like shows, like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
When I joined TikTok, it was like, I think August of 2019. And everybody was on their first video was using this, like, it would like take your screen from black and like look like it turned on a TV. And that's like what everybody was using. And so your first video will probably be cringy. It'll probably be weird. I think it's like a rite of passage on TikTok that like, it's like the first pancake rule, right? Like your first pancake is never going to be the good one. It's going to get burned. It's going to be raw. You're going to get rid of it. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just don't quit after the first one. I see too many people get started, make a TikTok or two, think that they're all going to blow up. They don't go viral, and then they just kind of quit. And that's not it. It's a long game, and we just got to keep going.
I love it. I love it. So what's another way for people to get discovered on TikTok, whether it's the hashtags or the things that they're saying or typing in? What are some of those kind of key things that they can be doing to make sure that their ideal client is going to be able to find them?
Yeah, great question. I think there's several answers to that. The first is to engage with other people. Much like Instagram, like TikTok is great because it will serve you to your audience, but also like you want to go out and find them too. You can't expect TikTok to do all of the work, even though it will do a really great job. So go look at those hashtags that you're using. Who's posting with them? And use it for networking too. Like use it, like if you're a florist, like go look at floral design, see what other florists are on TikTok, or, kind of reach out to people, comment on people's videos, create that interaction, and that will also help your For You page become filled with your ideal audience. Like you want TikTok to serve your videos to people, like you want them to serve your audience to you. And I always tell people it's like a golden rule of TikTok that if you are like, oh, nobody's commenting on my video or nobody's sharing it or whatever, like stop and ask yourself if you're doing the same thing. Because if you're not interacting with other people's stuff, like why should people be taking the time to interact with you?
Right.
It's kind of the way it is. So don't expect to like go on TikTok, post your video, and then not do anything.
Yeah.
And expect to be like this next viral sensation.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of one of those things that it's like looming over, people when they're like, oh, I'm going to be on TikTok. Does that mean that like everybody's going to see my video and like I'm going to be like viral, or how do I become viral, or I want to be viral, or all of these things? And they're like, ooh, just put this one video out and then you can become viral. So I think understanding like those are like way like those anomalies are just like completely.
Yeah, like don't even get me started talking about like the viral measurement, because this could go on forever. But I think part of what has made TikTok such a thing is that we're all seeing those viral videos, and that's like what's being served to you regularly. And so, and when it was newer, it was happening more. There were less people. It was just the nature of it. And the more people join, that's great because there's more people you can reach. But your odds of being, the next guy drinking cranberry juice on his skateboard, like, they're small. And the harder you try, like, the less it's going to happen. But you don't, like, for me, the goal is not, you don't want to be viral. Like, do you want to reach 1 million people who are just, like, in it for that one video? Or do you want to reach, like, 1,000 people who, like, care what you have to say and are going to care about the next video? Because I bet if you asked people, what kind of videos does Nate Apodaca make after he made that skateboarding video? First, you might be like, I didn't know that was his name. And second of all, you'd be like, I have no idea.
Right.
So the question is, like, do you want to be known for that one thing? And maybe you do. Maybe you do have a video that goes viral that's in your niche and people start following you for that. This is not to say that that can't happen, but there's that risk of, like, if you go viral, and I've heard from people that have gone viral that there's a lot of pressure on them now. Like, how do I keep living up to this? Oh, my next video didn't do that well. Like, is it me? Is it what I'm talking about? Or there's that risk of like you made something totally random and off your niche and you go viral for that and then nobody cares anymore because
Right.
you're not creating that same kind of content. So don't focus on going viral, especially because in the wedding industry, like your content is not relevant to all people at all times. That dance challenge that lady's doing that's really funny, yeah, we can all laugh at that. But if you're trying to sell me on your catering services,
Right.
I'm not getting married right now. I don't need this. So it's kind of like a slow roll. And I keep saying it, but it is a long game. Like you create this content and it will reach the people it needs to when it needs to. Your goal is not to like post a video and become famous overnight. And if it is, like that's great, but you still have to keep working at it.
Well, and understand that if that is your goal, then and anything related to business isn't about, especially in the wedding industry, it's not about a one and done, like fast sale, and then we're gonna make out with like $5 gajillion. That's not how it works. It's not like you're selling a product where you're like, ooh, everybody go and buy my product, and then
Right.
you make all this money. And you're like, okay, now I'm done. You know, you're building a business. And so you need that brand awareness. You need people to be comfortable with you. You have to be seen as the expert. And all these things can be done through these TikTok videos. So I think that's
Yeah,
good.
it's absolutely about brand awareness, and that's what I think is hard for people, is because we all want instant results, especially when something takes a long time. And you know, a lot of TikToks, people will be like, I just spent like 2 hours making this TikTok, or like I recorded this video like 30 times before I like hit my point and shoot the right way. Like, was that a good use of my time? And in the moment, it may not seem like it, but if you kind of look at it for like look forward, like you said, Megan, like you can share it with people, like to answer questions, you can do all these other things with it. It will pay off, and it's instilling brand awareness. It's like that's like saying, oh, I'm not going to post on my Instagram feed because this one video is not going to get me all the clients. Like you just have to
Yeah.
keep doing it no matter how, and it gets easier. It gets easier, and like by your, you know, like as you keep making videos, like you won't be spending 2 hours being like, oh, maybe I should have, I'll change this ink. Like eventually you'll get on there and you'll be like, oh, one take. Oh, my eye was half closed. Oh, well, this is just, it's done now.
Morris says, showing the personal side of your professional business. Absolutely. And those are, I've seen really great videos from bridal salons showing with gowns and like, you know, you can do all of these different things with like, um, you know, I don't know exactly all the terminology of it, but they're like jumping and changing the gowns, and then they're like doing these other things, and like they maybe like do a dance challenge in the gown, and so it's like cute and funny, but it's also like, oh, look at that gown. So there's a lot of creative things that you can do, like even like your example of catering, like you could maybe you're setting up and everyone's doing the dance challenge as they're setting up. Like there's so many cool things that you can do to kind of like catch someone's eye. And remember that this is a short form video. So this is not professional. You know, Malik Photo Weddings just joined. This is not a Malik Photo Weddings video. This is like from your phone. This is, you know, keeping it cash. And so
Right.
for people to really like understand, like this is behind the scenes. This is you just being you. What are the other reasons besides your beautiful finished product or service that they want to, why else would they want to book you? So if you're not showing,
Totally.
and I think that's really key to remember, that it's like an advertisement. It's like a
Yeah. I always say, like, first of all, yes, you're absolutely right. Like, it's not a high production thing, and that's different if you're a videographer. I see a ton of amazing videographers posting their real wedding footage. Different story. Like, yes, that's what you do. Keep doing it. But like, you're not going to win an Oscar for your TikTok. Like, there's no TikTok category at the Golden Globes. Like, this is just we're just going for it. Like, this is just how it is. But I tell, like, my analogy that I like to use is like the wedding industry loves Pinterest because it shows people what it is that you do. But like TikTok is taking your Pinterest and bringing it to life and showing like what actually happens at the event. Like you can show me a picture of this gorgeous wedding that you planned, but now I'm going to see a video of it and like people enjoying it, or, you know, getting to like live in that experience, which in the past year has been so critical of like getting to experience things through a screen. It's kind of the only way we experience anything. So I think just kind of bringing what you do to life, but showing who you are, because the personal side is so important. Like on your Instagram, I can see like if I hire you to do my flowers, they're going to look like this. But up until that point, I have to spend time with you. I have to talk with you about what I want. We have to create this relationship. And TikTok is for building a relationship because I can see you. I can see that you're fun. I can see that you know what you're talking about. I can see that you're really serious about your business. I can get to know who you are and like who that person is behind the photos that's going to be taking my picture, behind the flowers, behind whatever it is that you do. I want to know like who am I going to be working with? Like what happens from now until my wedding day?
And that's so, it's so neat because you can use it like a funnel in so many ways. And so many people aren't. They're just not, I mean, understanding that it's a very active way to literally take someone by the hand and take them through your funnel, and then they're ready to sign, like they're ready to book.
Yeah, absolutely. And the facial recognition is so important. And I think, you know, for people like photographers or videographers that really want to showcase their work on TikTok, I kind of would recommend that you start your video, you know, if you're doing like if you're a photographer and you want to say like 10 winter wedding locations that I love, I would like pop your face on in the beginning, you know, do a little point, just like a little point where the text would go. And now you've like shown your face. People are like, oh, I recognize her from that last TikTok video. Because if you're going to keep showing things that aren't your face, there needs to be some consistency. So if I see one video, I'll be like, I've seen her before and I'm going to follow Megan because I recognize her from that last video that I liked. But if it's like, you know, random thing, like here's a wedding I did here, here's a wedding I did here, but now here's my face, like there's going to be a lot of extra time for the people are going to need to connect that this is you, you made this, you can make this for me.
Right. And that goes back to what we were saying. It's all about in the first place. It's meant to show this is who I am and this is what I do or what I make. So if you're not showing that at all, it's just the finished product, they're not going to be able to connect that. So that's good.
Right. And part of what I hear is holding people back is that, well, there's no weddings happening right now, so I don't have any content to show. So I'll get on TikTok, I'll start making reels, you know, next month, at the end of the year, whenever there's like a big wedding, like some point I'll do it. And with that, I think there's two things. One, I would challenge you to really go through your archives. You have way more video footage than you think that you do, even if it's like little random snippets that you can just add text over of like what's going on or what you did at that wedding or whatever it is. And two, you can use photos. You can use photos. TikTok allows you to upload photos. Reels does not, but you could do it in a third party if you want to do a photo slideshow. Is that the number one thing I would recommend? No. It's not as native. It's not what people are doing. Some people are doing it, and that's not to say that you can't. That is better than no content. It has to work. So, you know, if you start it with a video, like I said, of your face, like introducing, like, you know, 10 floral arrangements for a summer wedding or whatever it is, kind of putting it together. If you have no content, maybe you're just getting started in the industry or you really don't have video footage to show, like there's no reason that you can't be on Reels or you can't be on TikTok because you can kind of piece together your content in a way that works. So if you're like, I only have photos, don't let that stop you, and don't ever underestimate like just getting on and showing your face.
And I think that's, I mean, obviously we all have a face that we can show. So, I mean, there is something that you can definitely do. And knowing that, as intimidating as it can be, you can do a filter. You can do different things. You can even put text over like part of your face, or like if you're like, oh, my eye was like closed or whatever, like you can like put text over it and no one knows.
Right. And it gets easier. I mean, Megan was showing up on Instagram Live with a Band-Aid on her face. Like no one's judging that, right? Like no one got on and was like, look at that lady with the Band-Aid. Like they're not there for that. And if they are, like, do you really want to be working with them?
Yeah. But
right. Like, would you want your client to be somebody that was like, ugh, it's the Band-Aid lady? No, you don't want that. So if somebody's going to hate on you, that's not the person for you anyway. And it's hard and it sucks when somebody comments something that isn't nice or you're like, oh, I thought that was good and people didn't like it. But your person that you want to work with will, and that will weed it out. Nobody wants to work with a hater. You don't want that.
I love it. Yes, if you're confused right now, if you're like, I have no idea what Emily's talking about, if you go to her IGTV, scroll down, go to the series, the interviews, and you scroll down, you can see this summer, really, really smart me decided to go for like, so, in the middle of the night, you're like, I can make it to the bathroom. And you forget that you have a ladder that you put up because, you just leave it there and then you like fall and get open. And then you have like this, like, I'm like, okay, I can't really talk for like a week. But then it's like after that, I was like, I can talk. I just look ridiculous. And I'm like, whatever, people. And then it's like, it just kept like coming off. So I was like, you're like this and I can keep talking. Or like I'd be laughing and the stitches would start to move. And I'm like, oh, stop laughing. Really hard.
Yeah, don't be funny when Megan's injured, but you can still go live with her. But no one's judging you as harshly as you're judging you, which I know is so hard to forget, and I need to tell myself that all the time. But no one is as critical of you as you are, and people want to work with you. Like nobody saw Megan's Band-Aid and was like, not gonna work with her now. No, if anything, that makes them want to work with you more because you're a real human being. People just want to connect with real human beings, especially now. Like, people are looking for human interaction. I see that frankly, I would love to see you sitting on your couch, sprawled out watching TV, than I would in some, like, totally made up, like, high, like, quality video. Because I'm like, that's not your real life. Like, I know you're not living like that, and I just want you to be you because that's who I want to work with.
I love that. That's hilarious and so true. And that's the thing. I mean, if you can't be you, right? Then who are they going to be booking with in the first place?
Right. Exactly. Just like be the person that you want to work with and you'll attract the people that you want to be your ideal client.
I love it. That's so good. Last thoughts, Emily? Anything that people should know about TikTok, getting on it? I mean, kind of recapping, obviously they need to do it. They need
do it.
Be intimidated.
Do it now.
They don't have to dance.
This is the time. If you're like on TikTok and you're desperate for an idea and you're like, where do I even begin? Like, as I said earlier in the video, like make your list of questions people are asking, make your list of questions you wish people were asking that would better educate your audience. But also don't underestimate the like the duet and stitch features on TikTok. So if you're not familiar with TikTok, they have a duet feature where somebody's made a video and you can respond to it in a little side by side, kind of like how Megan and I are now. And they have a stitch feature where you can take the beginning of someone's video and then make it the beginning of yours and go off of that. So some people have already kind of made templates almost, and you could make your own template, so to speak, for an audience. So for example, like on TikTok, what's popular right now is somebody had made a video and they're like, what's one life hack that you didn't know and once you learned it, it changed your life? The lady went on and told everybody hers, but everybody takes that like first couple seconds and stitches it, as they call it, to their video. So it starts with her being like, what's this life hack? And then you share yours. So you could even start that for your own audience. What's something that you wish that someone had told you before you started planning your wedding? Because people are in the midst of planning their wedding and it's kind of like, oh, I didn't realize it's going to be hard, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know that this actually costs this much, or whatever it is. So don't underestimate like building off of other people's content in that regard and using those features on TikTok if you're also looking for video ideas. But those would be my takeaways. Answer people's questions. Don't be afraid to show up and just talk to the camera because no one is judging you as harshly as you are. And don't be afraid to try new things. Like Megan and I said, like everybody's first video always has some kind of weird filter or something weird. Make sure, and I think one of the biggest things that I would tell people is for Reels and for TikTok, you want to keep your text like in the middle of your video. Like, if I'm like Madonna voguing, like in the middle of keep it in the middle because it will get cut off. It'll get cut off on Reels, like in the feed.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people are just watching them on their regular feed and not the Reels feed that's full screen. So keep it in the middle of that. TikTok, like don't put it too low because comments are down there or your likes are off to the side. And also everybody's phone screens are different sizes, so even if it looks like it'll be okay to you, sometimes like the dimensions get a little wonky, so kind of just push it in even further. Keep it central to the middle of the video. And maybe that's even better for you. It's covering your face now, and that's maybe what you want. Some people are like, I don't want to show my face. Show your face. It will get the highest engagement. It will. Whether you think you look absolutely hideous or not, like if you show your face in a reel, it is going to far outperform anything else.
Agreed.
So let that be your motivation. Be like, that girl told me on Megan's Live, like I need to show my face and I'm gonna do it. This is your sign. Like you need to show up. Don't be afraid, no matter how scary it is. Because people are gonna like it. People are following you, they care about you, they like what you're doing, and they're going to be excited to see you, especially now when people haven't seen each other in so long.
Totally. And just remember, when you think you look bad, just look at the IG live I had. Nobody's gonna. You don't have like your split open with stitches. No, you're beautiful. You're gonna be fine. See?
Right. No one cares. Like the biggest TikToker, this girl Charlie, if you're familiar with TikTok, Charlie D'Amelio, she's a teenager. She had nose surgery recently. Like we're talking both black eyes, like total nose cast. She was making TikToks like nothing had happened, and no one was like, no. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just keep doing it and don't quit because it takes time to reach out to your people and for them to find you and to build that awareness. And you didn't quit on Instagram. Just keep going with TikTok. Keep making reels on Instagram. It's the next thing to push your content out. And if you have any questions, my DMs are always open, and you can catch Megan and I on Clubhouse tomorrow.
Yes. So tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, we are going to be talking about this, some more fun hacks and tips and do's and don'ts. Because really, we could talk about this forever. Because I think there's so many things that people are just like, what? Like, I don't like all these misconceptions or just points of confusion. So we're going to clear that all up. Bring your questions. And if you have any tips, you can join tomorrow as well. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to be on Clubhouse. My Clubhouse handle is my name. So it's Megan Garmers. And
Yep.
is
Me too. Emily Rochot, same as my Instagram. You can find me there. It is exactly the same. Come with all your questions. There are no stupid questions about TikTok, and my friends are sick of hearing me talk about it, so I would love to talk about it with anybody that will listen. I will talk about TikTok with you for hours. Questions are always welcome, and feel free to follow me and reach out if you have questions about how to use this for your brand, because Megan and I could sit and talk forever about this.
Totally. Well, thanks so much for joining tonight. Always fun to see your face.
You too. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to doing this again tomorrow.
Hey, all right. Well, thanks. Have a great night, everyone. And
thanks, everybody. Bye, Megan.
bye.